Hello, I'm a woman in my 40s. I cut off people who were completely consumed by greed and tried to live off others like parasites. They believed that when someone showed them kindness, it wasn't something to be grateful for. They thought it was their right. The sincerity I gave with my whole heart eventually came back to me as deep and painful wounds. Today, I want to tell you about my in-laws, people who tried to drain me, down to the very marrow of my bones, under the excuse of being family. Thank you for listening until the end. To start with my childhood, I don't clearly remember my father's face. My father passed away in an accident. When I was 6 years old, to me, my father exists only as a vague memory. A man smiling with his arms wide open, reaching out toward me. Sometimes, just so I wouldn't lose even that small memory, I deliberately went through old photo albums. Mom, this is my dad, right? He was really tall, and he must have liked this leather jacket. He's wearing it in almost every photo. Yes, my mother said. He loved that jacket so much. Except for the middle of summer, he wore it almost every day. He was tall, and with that leather jacket on, people often said he was very handsome. Whenever my mother talked about my father, she always looked happy. The healthy, strong man I never really knew was still alive in my mother's memories. She told me my father adored me. Your dad cherished you so much. Whenever he went out, he carried you tightly against his side, like you might fly away if he let go. At your first birthday party, your father cried even more than you did. People were shocked. Really? I asked. It was my first birthday. Why was Dad crying? He said it was amazing, that you had grown so well and already turned one. That's how much he loved you. If he could see you now, all grown into a young woman, he would have been so proud. Just as my father might have looked down from the sky, missing me, I also deeply missed the father, who existed only in my memories. My mother worked endlessly to fill the empty space he left behind. But no matter what, a sense of longing always followed me to support us. My mother worked at the market. She sold fish, vegetables, and wild greens. She did anything that could bring in money. How hard must it have been for a woman to raise a daughter alone? Because of that, she became extremely strict and tough. She kept her hair short because it was easier to manage. Her voice was so loud, it could carry over walls. Auntie, I come here all the time. Can't you give me a discount today? I bought 5,001 worth last time. So today, can you at least take off my bus fare? Who asked for bus fare when buying only 2,001 worth of bean sprouts? Should I carry these here for free too? Don't talk nonsense. My mother's blunt personality was no exception with customers, and if anyone around her even mentioned borrowing money, she would explode in anger. Min-young's mom, I'm really desperate right now. Do you happen to have any savings? I'll pay good interest and return it next month. We've lived in the same neighborhood for over 20 years. I'm not going to run away. If you don't trust me, I'll even write an IOU. Just a few hundred would help. A few hundred? My mother snapped. Who is a few hundred? Is that a dog's name? Do I look like a charity? If you need money, go earn it yourself or go to the bank. If you came here to talk nonsense like that, get out of my house. I regret even offering you a cup of coffee. She was that merciless, even to people she had known her whole life. Sometimes, I felt like apologizing on her behalf. Mom, why did you have to say it like that? To the neighbor earlier, you could have just said you didn't have the money. She left in tears. If I don't act this way, people swarm around me, asking for money like flies. They look down on a widow, raising a daughter alone. In situations like this, you have to live fiercely. That's the only way. People won't disrespect you. And you remember this too. If anyone ever talks to you about money, cut them off immediately. Do you understand? My mother lived with her spikes raised, against the entire world. But thankfully, to me, her daughter, she was always gentle and loving. She worried about me constantly. If I didn't answer my phone, even for a short time, she would imagine the worst and become extremely anxious. One time, I couldn't take her call because I was in an extra class. It was a scorching hot day. My mother, sweating heavily, went searching for me everywhere. She ran from my school to every academy in the neighborhood. That day, I got the biggest scolding of my life. Why couldn't I reach you? If you were at the academy, you should have told me in advance. Do you know how many places I searched? From your school to the entire neighborhood? Mom, please wipe your sweat, I said, School ended early today, so I went straight to the academy. The sun hasn't even set yet. Were you really that worried? Of course I was, she snapped. After losing your father, you're all I have. You think I wouldn't worry? Never go anywhere without contacting me again. Unless you want to see your mother collapse from panic. Because of her personality, for a long time, I misunderstood her. I thought she was stingy, cold-hearted, too harsh. But one day, a letter arrived at our house. It was a thick envelope. Inside were records of donations made over several years. Large donations, all made anonymously. My head started spinning. The woman who argued with customers and was extremely sensitive about money was actually someone with the warmest heart. She lived like a hedgehog, covered in sharp spikes, just to protect her daughter. Yet inside, she was softer than anyone. And I, her own daughter, had never truly known that. I pretended not to notice the letter. I wanted to protect her secret, but instead, I ran to her and wrapped my arms tightly around her. "What's wrong with you today?" she asked. "Is there something you want to eat? Or something you want to buy? Why are you acting like this?" She laughed. "There's nothing wrong with a daughter," hugging her mother. "Mom," I said, "you worked so hard raising me. One day, I'll make a lot of money and make sure you live comfortably." "Oh my," she said. "Has my daughter suddenly grown up?" "Thank you, even if it's just words. You don't need to be rich," she continued. "Just stay healthy and stay by my side for a long, long time, my beloved daughter." Thanks to my mother's love, which may have looked strong on the outside, but was endlessly warm and dependable, I was able to graduate college safely. When I was in my mid-20s, my mother opened a small stir-fried octopus restaurant in our neighborhood. She always said, "Good food depends on good ingredients." Even if it cost more, she insisted on using only high-quality octopus. She had worked in the market for decades, so her eye for ingredients was unmatched. At first, the restaurant was small and shabby, almost like an old diner. But because her cooking was so good, that worn-down look actually became part of its charm. "Wow," customers said. "Just looking at the sign, this place feels like it's been here forever. Then the food must be amazing." "Excuse me," they'd call out. 3 orders of stir-fried octopus, please." In reality, the restaurant had only been open for about 3 years. But because of my mother's blunt way of speaking and the old-looking shop, people assumed it was a local restaurant that had been around for over 20 years. Thanks to that, word spread quickly. Customers never stopped coming. At first, a few curious neighbors stopped by. Before long, it became a well-known local favorite. My mother's octopus dish was a massive hit. Back in the day, it was mostly elderly neighbors, my mother said. But somehow word spread, and now young people come all the time. Whenever they visit, they remind me of you. So I give them extra portions. I guess that's why they keep coming back. "Mom," I said, "let's take advantage of this moment. If more young people are coming, why don't we develop some spicier dishes they'd enjoy?" "You're amazing at making spicy octopus anyway." So my mother began creating new menu items that appealed to younger customers. Extra spicy octopus, shrimp octopus, cheesy pork belly octopus. One mouth-watering menu after another was born. Thanks to that, the restaurant grew so successful that we even bought the shop next door and opened a second location. My mother's stir-fried octopus was a flavor almost everyone loved, but especially one person. My husband. I got married in my mid-30s. Even when we were just dating, he always said my mother's octopus was the best food in the world. "If your mom doesn't mind," he'd ask, "should we go eat at her place today? Do you think she might get tired of us coming so often?" "No," I laughed. "She loves how well you eat. You finish 3 servings all by yourself every time." "I'll call her." My husband came so often that he practically wore down the doorstep. Every time he ate, he'd give a thumbs up and praise the food endlessly. "Ma'am, today's octopus is incredible again. How does it melt in my mouth every single time?" "I don't think I can eat octopus anywhere else anymore. My taste buds are completely ruined. Because of your cooking, I'm in serious trouble." My mother laughed. "Young man, you sure know how to flatter people. For you, it's unlimited refills. Eat as much as you want." "Thank you so much," he said. "I'll even wash the dishes after I eat." Even before marriage, my husband constantly called her mother with genuine warmth. He always paid the full price for meals, and even insisted on helping with restaurant work. Our house had always been full of women, so when my sturdy, dependable husband was around the restaurant, even the occasional troublesome customers disappeared. "Welcome. Please sit over here. What would you like to order? It's our first time here. What's your most popular dish? Can you recommend something? Oh, it's your first visit? Well, this is actually my future mother-in-law's restaurant. I can guarantee the taste. Young customers love the cheese octopus. Would you like to try that?" My husband didn't just help with dishes and errands. He even won over customers, becoming something like the restaurant's mascot. Even customers who stopped by briefly would burst out laughing at his friendly jokes. My mother absolutely adored him, so much so that she was the one who urged us to get married quickly. I had always planned to marry him anyway, and after we decided to marry, I grew closer to my future in-laws as well. My future in-laws were a family of 4. My parents-in-law and my sister-in-law, who was 3 years younger than my husband. At the time, my husband and I both had full-time jobs. My mother worked. My parents-in-law also worked. But the youngest, my sister-in-law, was unemployed and stayed at home. "Uni," she said to me one day, "I've tried working before, maybe for a month, but I could never go back to an office job. I hate commuting. I hate bosses nagging me. I just can't stand it. Working isn't easy," I replied. "But no matter what job you do, you have to endure things you don't like. And when you get through hard times, you feel a sense of accomplishment." "Accomplishment?" she scoffed. "I don't really know about that. I just want to open my own shop and be the boss." From the start, my sister-in-law didn't seem like an easy person to like. Still, she was almost 30. She couldn't just stay home forever. So my parents-in-law seemed to support her financially in every way they could. They had already helped her open a small pasta restaurant and a cafe before. Both failed in less than a year. "I actually have a lot of experience in the food business," she said proudly. "I've run restaurants and cafes. Experience is everything these days, right? So next time, I'm going to invest properly and open something big." She talked about her tiny tenpyeong pasta shop as if it had been a massive restaurant. And every time she talked about opening a new place, the concept changed. One day, she wanted to do fusion food. Another day, she dreamed of opening a premium dessert shop. She was only 2 years younger than me. But when she talked, she sounded like a 7-year-old, dreaming up unrealistic fantasies. Even after we got married, she failed yet again. This time, she opened an unmanned bakery. "Everyone's doing unmanned shops these days," she complained. So I opened one too. But there were no customers, only bread thieves. I spent more time watching CCTV footage than actually making bread. "Aren't you supposed to focus on bread quality if you're running a bakery?" I asked. After all, she didn't even bake the bread herself. "She really has no idea what she's talking about," my sister-in-law said. "Who makes everything from scratch these days? Everyone just brings it in from factories." Still chasing empty dreams, my sister-in-law continued to drain my in-laws' household finances dry. After failing several businesses, my parents-in-law had already spent all of their retirement savings. Of course, my sister-in-law herself had no money saved at all. Instead of scolding her, my parents-in-law treated her like their aching finger, the child they could never be harsh with. She would do so well if only things went her way, they said. I don't know why nothing ever works out for her. Maybe we should even get a shaman ritual done. Still, they added, you have more social experience than she does. So please look after her. She must be so hurt and embarrassed. But at that time, my sister-in-law was already 35 years old. I tried giving her advice here and there, but what she truly wanted from me was only one thing: money. "Uni, stop lecturing me," she said. "Can you just lend me some money? Mom and Dad say they don't have a penny left. But I need investment money to open a restaurant. I'm unemployed, so I can't even get a loan. You've been working since college. You must have some savings." "Where would I get money?" I replied. "And if you're really desperate, you can't just say, 'Give me money,' like this. I worked hard every day to save what I have. At the very least, you should explain what the money will be used for and what your plan is." She scoffed. Wow, listen to you, acting all superior. Fine, just wait. I'll write up a business plan and bring it to you. And if you think it's okay, you'll lend me the money without any complaints. Don't go back on your word. A few days later, my sister-in-law showed up, holding a sketchbook. She had promised an amazing business plan. Instead, it looked like something a kindergarten kid would bring. Colored pencils, bright childish drawings, random notes scribbled everywhere. She seemed quite proud of it. She even gathered the entire family, not just me, to present it. All right, she announced. Let's begin my amazing business presentation. Everyone applause! After the presentation, there will be a special Q&A session for potential investors. The business idea is a one-table Western-style restaurant. You all know how amazing my pasta is, right? The restaurant will serve only one group per time slot. One table, one team. That way, I won't be busy running around. And customers can enjoy a private dining experience. My in-laws were impressed. Wow, that sounds great. Our daughter really prepared a lot, didn't she? Everyone clap! They applauded enthusiastically after that absurd presentation. I raised my hand and asked calmly, It all sounds nice, I said. But if you only serve one group at a time, your sales will be extremely limited. Considering rent, ingredients, and labor costs, will there even be any profit? And even if you only take one reservation, a single cancellation could completely shake your revenue structure. You're not even focusing only on peak hours. I'm not sure this model is realistically sustainable. That's my concern, as the person running the business. She snapped. Annie, you just need to invest. As you know, our family isn't in a comfortable situation. Your investment is absolutely necessary. Not only my sister-in-law, but even my parents-in-law looked at me with sparkling, expectant eyes. Thankfully, my husband stood up for me then. So this business presentation was really just a request for money, he said. We're both office workers. Our salaries are limited. What money do you think we have? To give like this? She's my sister. And of course I want to help. But this isn't right. Because my husband spoke up first, I was able to firmly state my position as well. Sister-in-law, he's right, I said. I mean, I'm your sister-in-law too, so of course I want to help. But this kind of gathering, where the sole purpose is clearly to ask for money, makes me very uncomfortable. An investment requires a solid plan and trust. It's not something that works just by saying, Please give me money. I'll succeed. Apparently, my sister-in-law hadn't expected me to speak up like that. She snapped back. Are you looking down on me right now? My mother-in-law also looked visibly uncomfortable, but because I spoke firmly that day, there were no business talks in front of me for quite some time. Life seemed to return to normal. Over the next 7 years of marriage, I gave birth to 2 sons. My husband and I were happy, of course, but my mother was the happiest of all. Oh my goodness, look at this chunky little baby, she laughed. Peekaboo? I'm your grandma on your mom's side. Goodness, whose son is he? He's so handsome. Mother-in-law, my husband said. While raising the kids, both of us have been craving your spicy octopus like crazy. Now that she's done breastfeeding, we're finally going to eat it properly. Extra spicy. Good, my mother said. I'll make it so spicy it'll wake you right up. No one eats my food better than my son-in-law, honestly. When I gave birth to my first child and then my second, my mother helped me through postpartum recovery as well. By then, her restaurant had grown even larger, and she was incredibly busy just running the place. But she was a strong, tireless woman and never neglected us. With my mother's help, we managed to raise the children. But at some point, I began to feel that my husband had changed. He was still a good father and remained kind to my family. But toward me, he felt cold and distant. Honey, how about the 2 of us go out and eat together for once? I suggested. We always eat Mom's octopus. Let's go out, look around, eat something nice. No, he replied. Too much trouble. What's the point of just the 2 of us? Let's just order delivery at home. He treated time alone with me as completely unnecessary. Whenever I tried to set a romantic mood, he'd push me away, saying, Why are you acting like this with family? People say that once men get married and have kids, they stop seeing their wives as women. My husband fit that saying perfectly. Not only was he indifferent, He openly compared me to other women. While watching TV together, if female celebrities appeared, he would glance at me and sneer. "What was that?" I asked. "Why did you look at me and laugh?" "Oh, come on," he said. "Isn't it funny? That celebrity is 5 years older than you. But she looks way younger. Her skin, her body, even the way she dresses, everything is better than yours." I was so stunned by his words that I actually laughed. Who was he comparing to whom? They say someone with mud on their own face is the first to criticize others. I was well-groomed and at a healthy weight, but my husband weighed over 90 kilograms at the time. If he were at least handsome, maybe I wouldn't say anything, but his face was so swollen with fat. He looked like an overfed bullfrog. "You've got to be kidding me," I snapped. "Go look in a mirror first. The kids take after you, you know. Please stop eating delivery food and get some exercise." "Why bother?" he said. "I don't have anyone to impress anyway. Some people might suspect an affair when their husband becomes this indifferent. But my husband had let himself go so badly that I never even worried about that. As if my husband wasn't irritating enough, my in-laws, who had been quiet for a while, started provoking me again. "Yes, Mother," I answered the phone. "I passed by your mother's restaurant the other day," my mother-in-law said. It was packed, people everywhere, not even room to step inside. "What's the secret?" "Our Yuri has been looking for another chance to open a restaurant. Could you ask your mother to share some tips for success?" "Well," I replied carefully, "I can ask if she needs help." "But there's no special secret. My mother has worked in the markets. Since she was very young, she works tirelessly without rest. That's probably her only secret. I'm not sure Yuri could do that." "What do you mean she couldn't?" My mother-in-law snapped. "Your mother didn't even finish school properly, and she managed. Our daughter is a college graduate." "A college graduate? So why don't you ask your mother to open a restaurant for Yuri? Or at least a branch of that octopus place?" "I don't have any money, and neither does my daughter. I hear your mother is famous in the neighborhood for being loaded with cash. Couldn't she lend us, say, 100 million won?" My mother-in-law didn't even hesitate to name a specific amount and dragged my mother into it. At that moment, I was completely speechless. My mother-in-law seemed to think it was only natural that just because we were family, she could freely use my mother's money as she pleased. But I refused, and firmly. At that moment, I suddenly remembered my mother telling me when I was young to never blur boundaries just because of family. "Mother," I said, "please don't ever say something like that again. Even if my mother does have savings, that money is for her retirement. And more importantly, it is absolutely not money I can touch. Honestly," I continued, "how many businesses has my sister-in-law already failed? What exactly am I supposed to trust and lend money based on? I can't risk losing the money my mother earned by working herself to the bone. Let's pretend this conversation never happened." My answer was far firmer than my mother-in-law had expected. She exploded in anger. "So now you think you're better than us?" she shouted. "I praised you too much, and now you're trying to grab me by the collar?" "I didn't demand money. Your mother is wealthy, so I just thought I'd ask. You have no compassion at all. You grew up in a rich family, so you wouldn't understand how I feel, watching my daughter waste her life like this." "That's crossing the line," I replied. "My father passed away early, and my mother raised me by doing street vending. In the markets, she struggled just as much. And because you always coddle your daughter no matter what, she keeps thinking she can just borrow money again and again. In the end, my mother-in-law and I argued fiercely, faces red with anger. After that day, our relationship became extremely awkward. I used to visit my in-laws often, so they could see the kids. But after that incident, we completely cut back on contact. My husband must have heard something from his mother, because one day he confronted me angrily. "Don't you think you went too far?" he said. "If my mom wasn't desperate, do you think she would have asked your mother? She's still your mother-in-law. You should apologize right away. And honestly, your mother is being a bit harsh too. She only has you. Would it hurt her to spend some money on family? She can't take that money with her when she dies, and it's your younger sister-in-law. She could think of her like her own child. Helping her out a little wouldn't hurt." "Why are you reacting so strongly?" My husband openly took his mother's side and painted me as the unreasonable one. At that point, everything I had been holding in finally burst out. What are you even saying right now? Why should my mother's money be used for your family? It's my mom's money, not yours. And who exactly is one family here? Shouldn't in-laws keep basic respect and proper boundaries? If you want to fund your sister's business so badly, go take out a loan yourself. Why are you trying to drain my family dry? Are you really going to talk like this and expect me to feel any affection left? No wonder I don't even want to come home. Forget it. I'm done talking. With that, my husband slammed the door and stormed out. After that, we entered a long Cold War. He avoided eye contact with me. The days when we laughed and talked warmly together were already long gone. Then one day, when everything, the house and even the weather, felt unusually calm, my husband left for work without saying a word. I dropped the kids off at kindergarten and was about to head to my afternoon shift. That's when my phone rang. It was an unfamiliar number. "Hello, is this Min-young?" a woman asked. "I used to work at your mother's restaurant." "I'm Yeon, the auntie from the shop." "Oh, yes. Auntie, why are you calling?" I asked. "Is my mom not answering her phone?" At my mother's restaurant, there was a Korean Chinese auntie who had worked there like family for over 10 years. She was quick with her hands and always hardworking. My mother trusted her deeply and relied on her a lot. I could hear her practically stomping her feet from how urgent her voice sounded. "Min-young, something terrible happened. Something terrible. Your mom, she has cancer. She went to the hospital recently, and it looks like she got diagnosed. She begged me not to tell you, over and over again. But how could I keep something like that from her own daughter?" "What?" I whispered. "What do you mean? Why would my mom have something like that?" I hung up the phone immediately. I postponed going to work and ran straight to my mother's restaurant. She was there, squatting in one corner of the kitchen, prepping ingredients as usual. She kept coughing, as if she didn't even realize it herself. "Mom?" I called out. "Min-young? Why are you here at this hour? Aren't you supposed to be at work? Why are you crying? What happened?" I couldn't even explain. I ran to her and hugged her tightly, not caring who was watching. She was startled at first, but when I kept crying, she stopped asking questions and just focused on comforting me. "Mom, why didn't you tell me? You've been coughing and sick all this time, haven't you? All those years working in the kitchen, breathing in gas fumes, working nonstop? Is that how you ended up with such a horrible disease? It's all my fault. I made you suffer. My mother, who had struggled her entire life, doing every kind of work imaginable, just to raise her only child, she ended up being diagnosed with lung cancer while I was busy graduating school, working, getting married, and even having children. My mother had been getting sicker and sicker. I was her only child. At the very least, I should have taken better care of her health. That guilt crushed me. I told her not to say anything. My mom sighed. "So she ended up calling you, didn't she? It's okay. Don't cry. Oh no, our daughter's face will get all puffy. You already have 2 kids. And hearing that I'm sick, you ran here crying like this. I really only have you." She smiled and gently wiped away my tears. At that moment, all I could do was cry in her arms like a child. Soon after, I quit my job and devoted myself fully to caring for my mother. My children were still young, but my husband was at least good with them, so I left the kids with him and focused solely on my mom. "You don't have to stay here all the time," she said. "You don't even sleep properly at the hospital. How uncomfortable must this be for you?" "No, Mom," I said. "You know your own personality. You're already sensitive. And when you're sick, there'll be even more things to worry about. So it's easier for me to take care of you myself." That's how my mother began chemotherapy. The harsh treatments made her hair fall out little by little. Even her fingernails started breaking apart. She suffered daily from nausea, constant fatigue, and loss of appetite. But she never once complained. "I always knew my mom was strong," I said. "But how can you not say you're hurting even once? If you're sick, say you're sick. If you're tired, say you're tired. I just sit by the bed and do what the nurses tell me. But you're the one suffering more," she replied. "Go out and eat properly at least once a day. You've lost so much weight." Every day, I stayed by her side, helping her take medicine, preparing her meals, and secretly crying when she wasn't looking. but because I knew she was trying to stay strong, I always forced myself to smile in front of her. Sometimes, I even joked around with her, putting a wig on her head. "Mom, this is an early birthday present," I said. "You always said you wanted to try long hair at least once. Try this on." "Wow, Mom, you look like a TV actress." "You're teasing a sick person," she said, laughing. "But it's not bad. Your dad fell for me? Because of my long hair, you know." We played around with the wig for a while, laughing like we used to. But as time went on, my mother's condition worsened. Every day, I begged the doctors. "Doctor, they say lung cancer survival rates aren't very high. So why isn't my mom getting better? Please, please save her. If you can, take my lungs instead. Please." No matter how much I cried and begged, the time my mother spent asleep eventually became longer than the time she was awake. My mom and my younger sibling used to work together, and even the aunt who had worked with us came to the hospital. When she saw how much my mom's condition had worsened, she broke down in tears. "Oh, our boss. What should we do? Your sister, oh my. She's all skin and bones now. Please, sister, try to stay strong. What could have happened in just 1 year? Min-young, you've endured so much. But you know how strong Mom is, right? She will definitely overcome this. Let's trust her and pray with all our hearts." Mom truly was strong. She bravely fought through 2 years of illness, fueled by her unyielding will to live. I will never leave my daughter behind. I still have things I want to teach you, and there's so much I still need to do. Yes, Mom, you can't leave me yet. You're the toughest, fiercest boss in the market. So you can do this, Mom. Let's hang on a little longer, just a bit more. But we all knew that the time left with her was limited. When Mom had regained a bit of strength, we took a short trip nearby. We soaked in the sea view and even enjoyed some grilled clams together. For the first time in a long while. "Mom, try some clams. I'll help you peel them." The food was good, but nothing compared to Mom's cooking. Right? Let's taste it. This place seasons well, but the clams aren't fresh enough. Fresh seafood needs the best ingredients. Even though she was weak and in a wheelchair, Mom's eyes still shone with her usual sharpness when it came to food. That evening, I held her hand tightly as we watched the sun slowly set. "Mom, look. The sun is already setting. I've always felt so emotional watching sunsets. When night comes, it feels like I have to say goodbye to everything I love. Why is nothing eternal? Mom, I still haven't done so much for you. Why does time pass so quickly? Min-young, don't cry. Wherever there is a meeting, there will also be parting. Don't be too sad. I will always be watching over you." Mom gave me the warmest, kindest smile, one that I will never forget. A month after our trip, she quietly passed away at home. She had suffered greatly from coughing before her passing. But now she is at peace, no longer in pain, reunited with Dad in heaven. I hurried to prepare my mom's funeral, and my husband, who had been busy taking care of the children, was there with me. Until then, I hadn't had a good relationship with my in-laws. But from the very first day, they all came to the funeral hall to comfort me. "Oh dear, why did your mother have to leave this world so soon? And you, daughter-in-law, you've been through so much. You must be exhausted, but I hope you can find some strength. New sister, what should we do? It must be hard, but please make sure she's well fed." I came as soon as I heard the news because I wanted to help her on her final journey. Yes, just tell me what needs to be done. At that moment, I felt a little moved by my in-laws. Even though they were technically relatives by marriage and we had our disagreements before, they were helping sincerely. I realized then what it truly means to be a family. My husband quietly stood by my side through it all, supporting me. After we finished Mom's funeral and returned home, my father-in-law cautiously called me aside. "Now that your mother-in-law's funeral is over, we need to talk." "What are your plans for the restaurant she ran?" "The restaurant?" I asked. Honestly, I was still too overwhelmed to think clearly. I haven't really considered it yet. I'll figure it out later. I see. Here's what I'm thinking. You've spent your whole life working in an office, and our son doesn't seem interested. What if my daughter and I take over the restaurant? What? I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Are you serious? On what grounds would you take my mother's restaurant? I'm her daughter. I have every right to carry on her wishes. How dare you even think about taking it? I'm telling you honestly then. I respectfully decline your mother's offer. I have no idea why this is even happening. That's when I realized what my in-laws had been thinking all along. During the funeral, while I was busy and vulnerable after my mother's passing, it seemed they were planning to take over the restaurant. "What right do you have?" they said. "Everyone in the family agrees except you. You have no say. Your parents, your siblings, never mind. Be grateful we're trying to take care of it." They insisted my mother's restaurant should go to their daughter, saying she would do better than me because I had failed before. They claimed she might even run it better than my mom. I was so furious I couldn't speak. My husband, who had been listening quietly, jumped in, saying, "Trust my sister. If you just let go and let her take over, our family will be happy. Your parents aren't around anymore, so think of my parents and sister as your own and trust them." They even suggested opening a third and fourth branch and argued that I would eventually return to work anyway. My husband kept insisting, getting more excited, talking about turning it into a family business. I was beyond shocked. In a fit of rage, I grabbed my husband's wallet and cut up his card. "What are you doing? Why are you destroying someone else's card? Don't you realize this card was given to you by my mom? Do you think I wouldn't notice?" I told them plainly, "You have no right. My mom secretly took care of you, giving you this card for support. And now, the moment she's gone, you want to turn her restaurant into a family business?" All this time, my husband had been using most of his salary to support his in-laws, including allowances for their son and his parents' living expenses. I had known this for a long time because my mother-in-law gave him the card to cover their costs, worrying we might fight over it. I was utterly furious. I told him, "You're not qualified to be a husband, let alone a father. From now on, your family is yours to handle. Why should I consider you family? Have you ever treated me like family even once? And please, stop protecting that woman. She drinks all the time, and you still make her hangover soup every morning. I don't want anything to do with this freeloading family anymore. Get out of my sight. You're no longer my husband, so leave now." I unleashed all my pent-up anger at once. I sent my husband and his family out of the house. My husband, realizing too late, clung to my pants. "Honey, why are you so angry? Please listen to me. I just wanted our family to work together. I've always been grateful to your mom. I even thought it was lucky she passed without knowing about this. But I don't want to see this anymore. We should get a divorce immediately." That night, I prepared the divorce papers and handed them to him. My husband begged me, pleading for one last chance, but I was resolute. "Let's settle this amicably and get a mutual divorce. If it goes to court, both of us could end up worse off. I don't want anything from you. So just disappear from my life cleanly, please." And just like that, after 9 years of marriage, we became complete strangers. Even after the divorce, my husband clung to me desperately. "Honey, I'm really sorry. Please, just give me a chance. I'm struggling so much. I'm still paying off your mother's and your siblings' card bills every day, covering our household expenses entirely from my salary. Everyone in the family depends on me. I feel like I'm going to die under this weight. Don't you realize this now? My whole marriage was a living hell because of your exhausting family. You cherish them so much? Try living with them your whole life, taking care of each other. Please, I beg you, save me. Get me out of here." Of course, I blocked him immediately. At times, my mother-in-law and the younger aunt who used to live with us would come by, calling and pleading. "Miss, if you keep coming here, I'm going to file a restraining order. The fines would be huge, and you don't have the money anyway. Are you going to try coming to demand money again?" Even mentioning the fines seemed to scare them off, and they stopped coming directly. Now, I run the restaurant with the younger aunt who treated my mother like family. If you live in Seoul, you may have heard of our restaurant. I won't reveal the name, but even without my mom, we've kept it recognized as a quality eatery. I used to resist taking over the restaurant, insisting on keeping my office job. But now that I'm running it, I finally understand why my mom cared so deeply about it. "Hello, please, have a seat. Are you here with your family? Shall I recommend some dishes the kids can enjoy?" Every corner of the restaurant and every dish is under my care, which makes me feel even more responsible and passionate about the business. My sons, now in elementary school, can even handle the spicier octopus dishes. "How is it? Do you like this new octopus dish I made? Is it good? It's a bit too garlicky. For adults, it might even be okay to make it spicier." I put my heart and effort into the restaurant every day. The younger aunt contributes as if it's her own place, supporting me wholeheartedly. "Min-young, you truly are your mother's daughter. People say your mom was strict, but when I see you, you might even be stricter." "Really? I guess I learned well from her. Mom always emphasized that you can't play around with food that goes into people's mouths. Of course, running the restaurant isn't easy. Some customers don't understand your sincerity. And between raising kids and managing the business, it can feel physically and emotionally exhausting. I finally understand why. Mom lived so fiercely. She had to push herself so hard to endure. I've inherited her determination and am living boldly and resolutely. Mom is watching over me from heaven with, Dad, how do you think I'm doing running the restaurant? I'm sure Mom sees areas that could be frustrating, but I know she's always cheering me on. I miss her so much. But Mom, don't worry about me. Be happy with Dad. And don't get into trouble there. I miss you deeply, Mom. Thanks to the love and lessons you left me, I can stay strong and unshaken even in hard times. Whenever challenges come, I'll remember your teachings. Mom will always live within me, in everything I do. Every moment I laugh, cry, and love, with your warm gaze guiding me. And so, today, I continue to live each day with courage and determination. With the strength and warmth I learned from my mother, I strive to live my life sincerely. I hope that one day, my own children will understand and appreciate these lessons as well. To all the mothers out there who are living each day with dedication and love, I send you my encouragement. Stay strong. And with that, I will conclude my story. Thank you so much for listening until the very end.